Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be reviewing the latest grinder from Rancilio, the Stile coffee grinder. Now this has been designed for espresso lovers who demand the best, and I'm excited to see whether it lives up to the hype. So sit back, grab your favorite coffee and let's get started. The Rancilio Stile coffee grinder is packed with features that make it stand out from its competition. It boasts 58mm flat burrs that produce a consistent, fast grind for great espresso extractions. The grinder has a durable stainless steel body and its hopper can hold 300 grams of beans. And it uses a stepless grind dial, allowing you to make precise grind adjustments to suit your specific brewing needs. But it's not just the features that make the Rancilio Stile coffee grinder special, and in the design, thankfully Rancilio have moved away from the well-known Rocky grinder. That's been on the market, well, almost since Rocky first appeared, and I think we are ready for a new champion Rancilio grinder, don't you? The grinder has a sleek, modern look, and it's more powerful with rather a low profile to it. It is boxy, which is a well-known aspect to Rancilio espresso machines, but the compact build and that minimalist aspect would suit any kitchen counter, fitting it neatly next to an espresso machine. Let's now take a closer look at this grinder. Now the hopper, as mentioned, holds 300 grams, and the lid to the hopper, this can second as a catch tray underneath the Stile, as it doesn't come with one, but really doesn't need one either, as it grinds out quite cleanly. The hopper does sit really neatly on top of this grinder though, and there is an easy shut-off valve here to open and close the hopper. This helps you remove the hopper entirely. You can place this directly down on the bench and it's not going to be toppling over. Also, there is a safety switch built into the Stile, so it won't actually operate unless the hopper is placed securely on top, like so. It's running, it's running. Really neat feature. Can we get a clean up here, please? Anyone? No, don't worry, I'll do it. With 58mm flat burrs and a 1200 watt motor, you can expect a consistent grind delivered fast every time on an espresso setting, and it takes around 9 to 12 seconds for a 20 gram dose. And it does this rather quietly too as well, and I would honestly place this grinder at the quieter end of grinders to have at home when you don't want to be waking anybody up in the morning. And whilst I'm not going to put a decibel reading to this grinder, and Rancilio aren't really selling this grinder as a silent grinder, I think the Stile still achieves it, as there's no real motor noise coming out of this grinder, nor vibrations going into the bench. There's really just the noise of the beans getting ground up. This grinder is incredibly simple to use as well, and you're able to make precise grind adjustments with ease from the large stepless dial, which is accessed from either side of the grinder. There are audible clicks and visual cues that assist you in changing the grind. Additionally, the extra large touchscreen display up front, here is where you have full control over timed dosing options. And put quite simply, you have two selections here to program that are dosed by time down to the 10th of a second, also a manual grinding out as well. But you can begin grinding on the Stile either through pressing one of the two selections on the screen and it'll begin to count down and grind out automatically, or by choosing the selection and then pressing the button at the back of the Portafilter Cradle and it'll count up to the programmed time. And with either of these selections, you can pause the grinding out as well. Now I've had no trouble adjusting that Portafilter Cradle to fit either naked or spouted handles, and it can accommodate portafilters of any size, such as the Breville 54mm one, and this is a great design feature on the Stile for hands-free grinding. While the Rancilio Stile coffee grinder is a fantastic new product, there are a few limitations to keep in mind here. This grinder is on the pricier side, so it might not be the best choice for those on a tight budget. However, the stainless steel body of the Stile, it is built to withstand daily use, making it a great investment for home enthusiasts looking for a grinder to last. And I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but Rancilio are well known for lasting products. It's also not a single dosing grinder, and whilst you could single dose into this hopper, you would be placing demands on the retention aspect of the grinder's workflow and build, where it's just not designed for that. And this is additionally why I would also add that it's predominantly an espresso grinder. And yes, it will grind coarser for other brew methods as well, and it's really not that hard to adjust this grind dial back and forwards. If you're not single dosing beans, which the Stile doesn't do though, then it becomes more difficult to go between coarser and finer settings when you have beans currently sitting between those flat burrs. It's just not going to happen. And I don't see all methods being the Stile's main focus. It's great espresso. Now, when it comes to coffee grinders, there are many options on the market, but it's clear that the Rancilio coffee grinder does still stand out from its competition. Let's compare it to similar grinders in size, features, and its value. And with that, I come up with the Eureka Mignon 65 EXL and the Malkonig X54. Next to the Mignon XL, the Rancilio is a more compact grinder on the bench, and it would be slightly slower, though much quieter than the Eureka, and the hopper on the Rancilio is a more reliable and robust design. It also has a friendlier user experience with a larger font on both the grind dial and its display, and the Portafilter Cradle, in my opinion, is designed better for more adjustment and reliability to hands-free grinding. Then compared next to the Malkonig X54, similar to the Mignon, the Stile is much smaller in size, this time with bigger flat burrs. And whilst the Malkonig is a better all-purpose grinder, the Rancilio Stile nudges it out here with a simpler espresso workflow from start to finish, where changing the grind is easier, and it would also be pretty well close to being as quiet, if not quieter, than the X54. But in terms of flavor profiles, the Stile I would compare closely to perhaps a Matza Mini, where it has plenty of balance between sweetness and body. There is a lot of texture in these shots and a creamy lingering aftertaste. This is not a grinder that's going to overemphasize acidity at all. And whilst I had neither of the above mentioned grinders in the studio whilst making this review, you can find any one of those independent grinder reviews from the link up above or down below. So what's the final verdict on the Rancilio Stile coffee grinder? In short, it's a fantastic grinder, and it's definitely worth the investment. From its precision grinding to the durable build, this grinder has everything you need to make the perfect cup of espresso. And with its stylish design, it's just not functional, but also a beautiful addition to any kitchen counter. And while the higher price point might be a consideration to some, the quality of the coffee you're going to be able to produce with this grinder more than justifies the cost. And from what I've experienced, from the Rocky grinder to the Sylvias produced from Rancilio, these grinders are built to last decades. So if you have any further questions on the Rancilio Stile, throw it in the comments section down below. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And as always, thanks for watching to the end of this video, and we'll see you in the next one.